We ought to be prepared and thinking ahead 2 generations down the line in our parenting. I want to parent my children the way I want my children to parent my grandchildren. I wanted to share a concern that I have that I see on social media all the time. I run into this all the time whenever I talk about these issues about the end, is what I'm going to call escape pod theology. And there is a pervasive, I think, attitude among a lot of evangelicals of what the moment that we're living in right now is too hard. I really hope the Lord comes soon. I want to escape out of here. I think there's absolute biblical warrant for saying, come, Lord Jesus. We ought to wake up every day with that posture of looking for the Lord's return. I'm not in any way denigrating that. That's a biblical idea. But what my concern is about this kind of escape mentality that I can just kind of divorce myself from these uncomfortable places that the culture is going to. Just kind of leave the culture to degrade, and to self-destruct. The optimism of the post-millennial view teaches us that the gospel triumphs. The gospel changes hearts. The gospel changes lives. The ebb and flow of 2,000 years of Christian history, if nothing else, ought to teach us that we don't know when Jesus is coming. And we ought to be prepared and thinking ahead 2 generations down the line in our parenting. I want to parent my children the way I want my children to parent my grandchildren. That's how an informed Christian thinks. They can hold intention at the same time. I wake up every day and I say, come, Lord Jesus. And I wake up every day and I say, how will I bring the gospel near? How will I boldly proclaim the gospel? Because I believe it is the power of God to salvation, that it can supernaturally change hearts and minds and lives. And how will I parent my children thinking ahead 2 generations? That my children will want and need a good education today so that they can parent and educate their children, my grandchildren, later. See, this is the way that we have to think. Because when we look at communities like churches who have been persecuted for centuries, they did not have escape pod theology. They did not have escape pod thinking and mindsets. Yes, they are just trying to survive, but they also got married, had families, created culture, built churches, planted new churches, preached the gospel. So if you find yourself falling into this pessimistic place on a regular basis, it's time to preach the gospel to yourself. First of all, it's time to preach the gospel to yourself and to start checking yourself as to how you're thinking and if you're falling into a pessimistic point of view.